So we're going to start off with just a little intro meditation, and you can be seated or you can lay down if you prefer. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat or perhaps laying down. You can close your eyes and take a few moments just to settle in to your sacred space. Take a moment to settle into this sacred time you've set aside for yourself. This is a time not to necessarily do anything, but just a time to be with ourselves, to be present in our body, to be present with the prana, the life force energy that is flowing in with each breath. As human beings, a lot of our lives are spent preparing for the future. A lot of our lives are spent taking action to create positive change in our lives. That is our yang energy. That is our strength. That is our willpower. And that is to be celebrated. We're all full of that yang energy and that strength. But just as important as the yang energy is our yin energy. Our ability not to create change, but to accept the moment as it is. Our ability to accept others as they are. Our ability to accept ourselves as whole and complete beings here and now in this moment. So I invite you for this next hour to shift into the yin energy. You don't need to change anything for this next hour. We can just start to accept this moment as it is. We can start to go deeper into the stillness and peace of this moment. We can go deeper into ourselves, deeper into our center of peace and tranquility, deeper into loving awareness. On an inhale, slightly lift your chest. On an exhale, slightly tuck your chin. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands down to your heart center. Yogis, take a moment to set your intention for today's practice. Taking a moment to choose a single word, a phrase, a feeling, to welcome that positive energy into your life. To remember you are a co-creator of that energy. It all starts within you, in your mind, and in your heart. Breathe in your intention. Exhale, let it go and release your hands. You can open your eyes. And let's start off today's yin class now, laying on our back. So I've got my mat here. You can lay onto your back if that is comfortable for you. Remember that this is your practice today, so you can really modify any poses, doing whatever is best for you. So I figured today, let's start with 30 breaths of pranayama in a laying back position. So you can lay sort of in a shavasana here. Lay however is comfortable for you. And then I recommend, if it is comfortable for you, to put one or both hands onto your abdomen here. So we can get in touch with our diaphragmatic breathing. We can get in touch with some deep belly breaths. We'll be doing 30 breaths here. So feel free to follow along with me. So let's begin with a deep exhale. You can exhale out all of your air here. Take a deep inhale through your nose, really expanding your belly, and then open your mouth, HA. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, really lift your hand with your stomach. Exhale, feel your hand drop. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in the prana energy into every cell in your body. Open mouth, let it go. Breathing in. 10 more breaths here. Breathing all the way into your hips, expanding your belly. Open mouth, deactivate all your muscles. Breathing in and out. In and out. Taking 2 more here. Breathing in and out. Last one. Deepest breath. Exhale, let it go. You can return your breath to normal. And let's take a good morning stretch. As you inhale, reach your arms long overhead and legs long beneath you. Exhale, deactivate all of your muscles. 2 more like that. Inhale to reach long. Exhale, deactivate. Last one here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Just staying curious today as to what sensations are arising within you. Just here to feel. Let's find Pavanamuktasana, wind removing pose. Bring your right knee into your chest, a little out to the right of your ribs. You can keep your right foot totally relaxed, but flex your left heel away from you like you're pressing your left leg down out of its hip socket. Take a deep inhale. Then exhale to pull your knee towards your right shoulder and hold that depth. Another big inhale creates more space. Exhale, squeeze your knee towards your shoulder, still flexing the left heel away. Take 3 more rounds of breath in this same cycle. In this stretch, we're creating space between each hip, stretching the iliopsoas, hip flexors. We're also getting a nice gentle massage to the digestive tract, which is really good for the circulation and your digestion. Let's swap out our legs here. You can bring your left leg in and release your right leg long on the mat. You can flex the right heel away from you and keep this left foot relaxed. Take a big inhale. Exhale, pull your knee towards your shoulder and hold that depth. Another big inhale. Exhale, squeeze your knee towards your shoulder. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. It's really creating some spaciousness in the hips. Getting in tune with the pranayama, the breath. In yoga, we get back to the basics, back to simply breathing, simply being. Now bring both knees into your chest, and let's create a nice tight cannonball. You can give your legs a hug. You can squeeze tightly and gently rock from side to side. Now we're going to make our way to a seated position. You can get there any way you like, but for a fun way, you can start to rock forward and back, and maybe pop up here into a seated position. Let's come into a child's pose next. Coming onto the back half of your mat. You can bring your 2 big toes to touch. You can spread your knees out as wide as you like. I usually go about the width of the mat itself. Sit your hips back onto your heels. Stretch your arms out long and come to rest your third eye center on the mat. Take a deep inhale. Open mouth, let it go. Another deep inhale. HA. Deepest inhale here. Open mouth, let it go. My friends, we are with the breath now. For this next hour, I invite you to meditate on your breath, to feel each inhale and each exhale. And if you find your mind wandering outside of the breath, outside of this moment, as is totally natural, you can come back to your breath without any judgments on yourself. So in child's pose, make prayer hands on your mat, bringing your palms together. And then bring your prayer hands back behind your neck for a nice tricep stretch. You can press the backs of your thumbs into your mat. If you want to deepen the stretch a little bit, walk each elbow forward one step and relax your heart a little bit deeper towards the earth. Release your prayer hands back to your mat. Now tiptoe your hands over to the right edge of your mat. Well, for a deeper stretch, you can come off of the right edge. Stack your left hand on top of your right. Start to press back through straight arms, pressing your left hip back towards your left heel, and slightly drop your left shoulder. Breathe space into your left side body here. Seeking to create a nice, yummy stretch from your left lat, through your left ribs, left hip. Tiptoe your hands back through center and over to the left edge of your mat, or maybe coming well off of the mat. Stack your right hand on top of your left. Press back through straight arms, pressing your right hip towards your right heel. Slightly drop your right shoulder and breathe some space into the right side of your body. This practice can be sending love and gratitude to various parts of our body today. In the inhale, we deliver that love and gratitude to the muscle. On an exhale, we let go of anything that's no longer serving our journey. Return back to centered child's pose. Let's thread the needle. Lift your body up an inch and thread your right arm underneath your left. You can set your right ear on the mat if that feels good. And some yogis like to add in this half bind here with the left arm coming back behind the lower back. As you inhale, breathe space behind your right shoulder. Every exhale, relax more of your body weight into your shoulder and your hips. Those exhales are really the yin energy, the letting go. You can tune into that yin energy, learning how to really deactivate the muscles, releasing any tightness. Return back to centered child's pose. Then thread your left arm underneath your right. You can set your left ear on the mat if that feels good. Maybe you like to take the half bind if it felt good on the first side. As you inhale, breathe behind your left shoulder. Every exhale, soften to the earth. Deepening the posture, deepening the meditation. Return back to centered child's pose for one last round of mindful breath here. Tabletop pose. Shift forward so that your hands are under your shoulders and knees under your hips. To begin, simply let your head hang heavy and start to rock your hips from side to side. Just welcoming some movement through your hips, your spine, shoulders, your neck. You can start to take some free movements here, maybe rolling out the shoulders a little bit. Maybe you roll your hips back and forth in a figure eight motion. There really are no wrong answers here. Whatever movements are the most helpful and healing for you today. Getting in touch with that wisdom within, the intuition of your body. Now let's meet back in our tabletop. And today let's warm up our hands. And tilt the camera down a bit here. So take your right hand and rotate it to the right. Left hand, rotate it to the left. If your fingers end up facing all the way backwards towards your body, like I'm demonstrating here, you can start to lean back and peel your palms off of the mat for a nice, but maybe a little bit intense stretch through your hands, wrists, and forearms. If your fingers ended up going a bit more side to side, you can gently rock from side to side. Just warming up the wrist, just giving a little TLC to the hands and fingers. Good. Return both of your hands to normal. Lift up your right hand, flip it upside down so your fingers end up facing your body. Set it back down. And then do the exact same with the left as well. Spread all 10 fingers wide. Press the backs of all of your fingers down into the mat. Continue to press your fingers down. Now, can you lift and connect just the thumb and index finger, keeping the other 3 fingers pressed down into the mat? Then thumb to middle finger. Thumb to ring finger. Try and keep the other fingers pressing down. Thumb to pinky finger. Now work your way all the way back through, thumb to ring finger, thumb to middle finger, thumb to index finger. Now you can return your hands to normal. You can roll out your wrists. It's perfectly natural for your wrist to feel a little bit weak. After that, we created a lot of space for new blood flow. Great job, my friends. Next up, we're gonna do the same kind of thing for our feet. So bring your knees and feet together and sit back onto your heels. And this is hero's pose right here. This is a very common way of sitting, for example, in Japan. So for some of us Americans, our knees aren't a big fan of this because we aren't in this position very much. If that's the case for you and your knees are hurting, feel free to put a pillow, a cushion, a bolster in between your seat and your heels. Now, for this stretch of the tops of our feet, separate your feet just so they're barely not touching, and then simply lean back and see if you can lift your knees up off the ground. Your hands can be there to stabilize you, or you can add some style points with some prayer hands. Just here to feel a nice stretch through the lower shins, tops of your feet. It can be pretty intense, but just something to be aware of, that you can stretch out the tops of your feet like that. Now let's stretch the bottoms of the feet. So you can tuck your toes underneath your feet and sit back onto your heels in this modified hero's pose. So while our feet are getting this passive warm-up, let's warm up our neck as well. So the toes are tucked under, and you can untuck your toes at any point if that becomes too intense. We'll warm up our neck a little bit. Tuck your chin into your chest, and come back to neutral. Look straight up to the ceiling, back to neutral. Right ear towards right shoulder, back to neutral. Left ear towards left shoulder, back to neutral. Look over to the right, back to center. Look over to the left, back to center. Now we'll get a little bit deeper into the trapezius muscles, our upper shoulders where it connects to our neck here. Stretching out the right side first. Take your right arm in a half bind behind your back if that's comfortable for you. Sometimes I'll even kind of give myself this little assist of pulling the arm further through. So now we're getting our trap in a nice lengthened position. If it's comfortable for you, let your head fall over to the left. If you want a little bit more help here, you can gently pull your head over to the left. Every inhale, creating space in that right side of your neck. Every exhale, letting go. You can also try pulling slightly forward. Turn back to center. Now, if your feet have had enough of that warm-up, feel free to untuck your toes. We'll do the second side of the neck and trapezius here. The left arm can find that half bind behind you. You can start to relax your head over to the right, maybe exploring a little forward and back. Maybe you'd like to add in a little pull. Being sure to breathe right into the stretch sensation. Exhales, really feel it open up and release. When we tune into those exhales, we're tuning into the same part of us that relaxes our body, our mind, and our spirit. It's all one. Return back to center. You can return your arms to normal. We can find a tabletop position. Great job, my friends. Those were all the little things. Now we're going to get into some deeper poses where we can hold a bit more stillness. We're going to start off laying on our front in a Sphinx pose. So we will set up like the statue of the Egyptian Sphinx. You can place your elbows right under your shoulders. Your upper arm bone, your humerus bone, is straight up and down. I never got what was so funny about that bone. But so we're here in our Sphinx, and we'll be here for about 1.5 minutes. Now this is a back bend. Our spine is in a nice back bend shape. This helps to undo any rounding, any kyphosis of our upper back. Now, the idea of this pose is to let your hips relax down into the earth. You can press forward through your heart, slightly squeezing your shoulder blades back behind you. You can press down through your elbows to lift your chest. Slightly lift your chin and breathe throughout your torso, throughout the length of your spine. It's completely natural to feel a bit of tightness along the muscles in your mid-back. We are stretching mostly the front of the body here. We're helping our spine be able to have this backward mobility. In our posture. Now in these final 30 seconds, you have the option, if you would like, if you're feeling ready for more, to rise up to straight arms for a seal stretch. I usually walk each hand forward a little bit closer to me, so actually closer to me, yeah. And then roll your shoulders down your back, puff up your chest, slightly look up and breathe. Exhale, release all the way to your mat. Great job, my friends. Next up is wing pose. That's a stretch for the front of our shoulder and our pectoral muscle of the chest. So to begin, I'm actually going to demonstrate the left side first, just because of where my camera is. You can do either side. I'm going to place the left arm straight out from my left shoulder with the palm facing down. Use your right arm to press yourself onto your left side, and as you do that, see I'm sliding my left arm another couple inches to the left. So maybe you just hold here with the right arm propping you up. You can feel a nice stretch through the pec and shoulder. If you want to go deeper, you can create this kickstand where you place your right leg behind you. And deeper still, you could find a half bind with the right arm behind your lower back to hold you in place. We're just here for 1 minute each side. Here to send some love, some gratitude, some breath to the left shoulder, your left pectoral muscle. Every inhale expands you from within. Every exhale, relaxing deeper. Gently roll back to your center. Now, if you have enough space, you can just send your right arm straight out from your right shoulder into the other side. Because I'm a little bit blocked by this couch, I'm gonna flip over this way here. So for the right side, or whatever side is opposite for you, send your right arm straight out. Use your left arm to press yourself onto your right side. Maybe you hold here. Maybe you find the kickstand. Maybe you add in a half bind. Every inhale, creating space. Every exhale, letting go. Gently roll back to your center. And then press yourself up to tabletop. Great job, my friends. That is a wonderful stretch for our shoulders. Next up, let's do the opposite of a back bend. We did that Sphinx pose, so we're going to find its opposite here. Let's start off in Hero's pose. Bring your knees and feet together and sit back onto your heels. You'll have two options for this next pose. I'll demonstrate both of them. The options are either going to be a half tortoise or an embryo pose. We'll start off with embryo. For embryo, you can take the knife edges of each hand and place them into your waistline with palms facing up. You can inhale to lift your chest and exhale to lay your torso nice and long over your hands, laying until your third eye center maybe touches the mat. The idea here is to really let your elbows relax down towards the earth, letting your shoulder blades open up. Now, the reason I added an alternative is some yogis don't like the feeling of this pose. Maybe it restricts the breath a little bit. So if that's the case for you, a half tortoise, we can have the hands together, thumbs wrap around the opposite hand, arms overhead. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, tuck your chin to your chest. See if you can have your third eye and the knife edges of your hands touch the mat roughly at the same time. In half tortoise, you can press through your straight arms, pressing your sit bones back towards your heels, creating traction, lengthening of your spine and all the muscles of your back. So whether you've chosen half tortoise or embryo, breathe here for about 1.5 minutes. Just here to be present with the body, with the breath. Just here to be fully open and accepting of this moment, just as it is. When you're ready, you can gently rise back up to your hero's pose and then shift forward to tabletop. Awesome job, my friends. Next up, we're going to get into the hips a little bit with our dragon pose. So starting off here in a tabletop, place your right foot outside of your right hand. And you'll do this so that your right shin and your right arm become two parallel lines here. Now tuck your left toes to inch your left knee back once, twice, maybe 3 times, trying to get a nice straight line through this hip flexor. See if your right knee wants to relax out to the right. Maybe the foot comes onto its knife edge, if that feels good for you. For the straight arm variation, let your hips drop, and start to lift your heart. Maybe you hold there. If you want to go deeper into the dragon, you can come down to your forearms. Maybe you hold there. Some yogis will even lay to the stomach, to the chest. Taking about 1.5 minutes to breathe into your hips here. Not forcing anything, just here to feel, here to heal, here to breathe and be. And every exhale, letting gravity pull your hips a little bit lower. We will be adding on to this pose, so keep your legs the same if it's working for you. Let's meet with straight arms for a twisted dragon. Place your left hand onto the midline of your mat. Let your hips drop and lift your heart. Place your right hand on your right thigh, press and twist to look over your right shoulder. Maybe you hold here, or maybe you'd like to reach back and grab your tail, grabbing the back foot. Just be mindful of a possible hamstring cramp as you make that reach. And release. You can send your right leg back, bringing you back to tabletop. Feel free to rock your hips in between sides. Dragon pose is sort of the most intense stretch of this practice, in my opinion. We're going to get into the other side here. Place your left foot outside your left hand, creating the 2 parallel lines of left arm and left shin. Tuck your right toes to inch your right knee back once, twice. Now see if your left knee is wanting to relax out to the left with the foot coming onto its knife edge. For straight arms, drop your hips and lift your heart. If you want to go deeper, you can come down to the forearms or lay to your chest. Stay present with the prana, the life force energy, as it flows through your nostrils and gets delivered to every cell in your body. Now is the time to open up. Now is the time to receive deep rest and deep nourishment. We'll be adding on to this pose, so when you're ready, rise to straight arms for the twisted dragon. Place your right hand onto the midline. Let your hips drop, lift your heart. Place your left hand on your left thigh, press and twist to look over your left shoulder. You can hold right there, or you can be a dragon grabbing its tail. release, and send your left leg back, bringing you back to tabletop. Amazing job, yogis. Feel free to rock your hips from side to side. That's the dragon pose. It's often quite a fiery pose. So great job. Next up is not exactly a yin posture, but it's a stretch I want to share with you guys. It does require a couch or some sort of stool or box or bench. So if you don't have that, feel free to do a yogi's choice stretch in the meantime, and it'll be pretty short, so we won't be doing this too long. So I'm going to move you guys over here. I want to show you the best stretch that I know of for the hip flexors and your quads. So I'm going to put my yoga mat close to the couch. This also works up against a wall, by the way, if you imagine that this was a straight up and down wall that just kept going, but it's easier on your feet on the couch. So what we do here is you set your knee down on the mat, and you want your knee as close to the base of the couch as you can comfortably get, with the foot relaxing on top of the couch. You're going to place your left foot in front of you into a lunge, and rise up into this lunge here. If you have your foot up against the wall, that will totally work as well. So here, we want to stand tall through our chest. Draw your abs up and in, and start to lean back. So for me, I'm going to get my knee a little bit closer. Good. Starting to lean back. I'm starting to feel that through the quadricep and the hip flexor. Lay back and breathe. The more you draw your abs up and in, the more you get into that hip flexor right here and the psoas. Really lifting up and in, leaning back. Release, and let's switch sides here. So I'll put my left knee close to the base of the couch with the left foot up. The right leg becomes a lunge. You can stand up tall here. Lift your chest. Draw your core up and in. Start to lean back, pressing forward through the hips, up and back through your chest. This can be one of the best stretches for your quadriceps and your hip flexors. We all get tight here. Release. Great job, my friends. And if you didn't have a wall or a couch to do that on, thank you for bearing with us while we did that. I'll be right back. Next up, let's get into the inner thighs and hips with some frog pose. You've got two options. You can turn sideways on your mat and do a full frog. I'm trying to find the best way to demonstrate this one. So full frog, you're gonna letting your knees come wide apart and basically being on the forearms and relaxing down here. If that's not comfortable for your knees or hips, you can do a half frog, which is a bit more relaxing. You lay onto your stomach, and then you just have your left knee come up to a 90-degree angle. And with your breath, you're gonna let your hips relax down. So maybe finding a half frog, or maybe finding a full frog. I will call the halfway point on frog if you need to switch your half frog. Ready, set, and go. Starting here for just about 1 minute and 20 seconds. So try and keep your back nice and flat with the goal of letting your knees spread wider on the mat, letting your groin fall towards the floor. We are halfway through, so if you're in a half frog, feel free to switch your side. Release. Gently find your way back to a tabletop. Awesome job, my friends. Next up, we're going to get into our hamstrings a little bit more with a half or full splits. It's going to be your choice here. Starting off with the half splits, place your right foot between your two hands. Then you can start to send your hips back. You can start to straighten the right leg, flex your toes back towards your face. Every inhale, lift your chest. And every exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Getting a nice stretch into this right hamstring. Some yogis like to sit all the way back onto the left heel, if that's okay with your left knee. Every inhale, lifting your chest. Every exhale, laying forward. And if you've been working your way into those full splits, feel free to take the full splits here. The full splits, if you have your chest up, you're getting more into the back hip flexor. And if you were to lay forward, you're getting more into this right hamstring. So either way, getting what you need here for about 40 seconds. Release. You can bring your right leg back into tabletop. Awesome job, my friends. Setting up next for the left side. Place your left foot between your two hands. Start to shift your hips back as you spike the left heel, flexing your toes back towards your face. Every inhale, lift your chest. Every exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Maybe you like to sit all the way down onto your back heel. Maybe working on full splits. Just here to feel this pose in this moment. Staying present with this breath. Release. You can bring your left leg back to your tabletop. Awesome job, yogis. Next up, we're getting into our half pigeon pose, which is a wonderful hip and glute stretch. Place your right shin across your mat. Now you can see my shin looks somewhat perpendicular. It doesn't have to look perpendicular. For some people's hips, it's gonna look more like that, and that's perfectly okay. Tuck your left toes to inch your left knee back once or twice. Inhale to lift your chest, then exhale, find your depth. Maybe you come to your forearms. Maybe you lay lower onto your chest. Just taking about 2.5 minutes each side here. This will be one of our longer holds. Just to breathe some love and gratitude into the right leg, right hip, right glute. Just staying present with the breath. Riding each exhale, letting gravity take over a little bit more. In our waking state, we have an infinite spectrum of relaxation available to us. And as we go inward in this practice, we get in touch with that relaxation within. You can start to feel the gradients as each exhale brings us a little bit deeper into the moment, deeper into the meditation. Gently rise to your straight arms. And then send your right leg back, coming back to tabletop. Great job, my friends. Feel free to rock your hips from side to side to feel the release you created through that last pose. Coming into the left side of half pigeon now. Place your left shin across your mat. Tuck your right toes to inch your right knee back once or twice. Inhale to lift your chest. Exhale, come down to your depth. Settling in here for 2.5 minutes. Taking the sacred time that you created to refill your cup, to nourish yourself, to take great care of yourself. One brilliant way to describe the yin energy is by learning the definition of the word nirvana from the Buddhist practice. And nirvana can best be translated into English as ah. It's simply that sigh of relief, that letting go. It's that releasing of resistance to the moment, releasing any need to fight reality as it is. And staying present with the breath. Gently rise back to your straight arms. And this time, let's sit down onto the left hip and swing your right leg around and forward. Setting up here for Janu Shirshasana, forehead to knee pose. Sit nice and tall and turn to face your right foot. Inhale, circle sweep your arms. Exhale, forward fold over your right leg. Tuck your chin into your chest. Let your forehead fall in the direction of your knee or your shin. This is mostly for the lower back here. Sending your breath to your stretch sensation. Gently rise back to your seat, and we'll find the other side. You can switch your legs, setting the left leg long, bring your right foot in, sit tall, and turn to face your left foot. Inhale, circle sweep. Exhale, forward fold over the left leg. Tuck your chin into your chest. Let your forehead fall towards your knee or your shin. Stay curious as to where each pose is creating space and relaxation within you. Gently rise back to your seat. Now, next up, I want to show you my go-to pose for relieving lower back tightness. And for most of us, I think we've experienced that at some point. So whenever I personally feel something in my QL, my quadratus lumborums, which are right back there, this is the go-to for me. And this also really helps your inner hips and inner thighs as well. So we're gonna find a wide-legged forward fold. So I usually sit sideways on the mat. You can have the widest stance that you can comfortably create here. And you want to shift onto the sit bones. Your sit bones are where your hamstrings meet your glutes. So I usually can lift up, lean forward, and then sit down. I'm more connected to the sit bones. Inhale to lift your chest. Exhale, start to tiptoe forward with your hands and start to lay all the way forward. Letting your spine round, letting your chin tuck into your chest. Now, if you find this to be too intense for your inner thighs, you can do the same thing with butterfly legs, and you'll still get that same release of the lower back. But I find this one to be preferable if it's okay. Letting the inhales expand, the stretch sensation. Every exhale, melting a little bit deeper into the pose. Gently rise back to your seat. You can send both of your legs out long now and lay all the way onto your back. We're coming into our final few postures here, my friends. Starting off, let's find, let me see here. Series. So this is totally optional how far you want to go into this series. We'll start off with legs up the wall. Place your hands under your hips just to support your low back and send both legs straight up as if you were resting them against a wall. And if you would actually like to put your legs up against the wall for a more rejuvenating option, you can do that. So this is legs up the wall pose here. It's a very relaxing, passive posture, flattening your lower back, letting blood flow and lymphatic fluid drain out of the legs if there's been too much swelling in your legs. If you want to go deeper into the plow series, you can send your hips straight up, like so, and you can lower your straight legs until maybe their toes find the floor behind your head. In plow, it's important to just look straight up at the ceiling or up at your legs. Breathe into your low back here.
If you'd like to go a little bit deeper into plow, you can let your knees start to bend, finding a deaf man's pose, maybe with the knees coming over the ears. When you're ready, let's all meet in Happy Baby, Ananda Balasana. For Happy Baby, you can place both feet up as if you were in a wide squat on the ceiling. Take hold of both feet from the outside or the inside, whatever's accessible and comfortable. Start to pull your feet wide apart and then start to pull down, lowering your knees a little bit more towards the earth. Then start to press your feet up into your hands. Feel how that can help to anchor your tailbone towards the mat. Take some deep belly breaths here into your low back, pelvis, and hips. These deep breaths are creating space and relaxation in the deepest part of your core, into your pelvic bowl. These deep belly breaths stimulate the vagus nerve, which creates our rest and digest, our parasympathetic relaxation nervous system. Now let's do a little series here. You can go as far into this series as you feel good and comfortable in. Let's find Half Happy Baby. Leave your right arm and right leg as they are, and extend your left leg to hover 1 inch above the mat. And you're flexing the left heel away from you, so your leg is lengthening out of the hip. You can bring your right shin straight up and down, and now start to pull lower. Start to pull down more, lowering your knee towards the floor. Breathe into the spaciousness of your hips here. This Half Happy Baby is sort of like an upside down dragon pose. So wonderful for opening up the hips. If you want to take this a little further into Rock the Baby, you can take your right foot and place it into your left elbow crease. You can then place your right knee into your right elbow crease. See if you can lay back to the mat and gently rock from side to side here. This is going to get a bit more into the outer hip, like a half pigeon pose. So maybe you hold here and that's as far as you want to go. Just to know where this series can take you, you can bring the right leg over your right shoulder, like wearing a backpack strap. And then the final step is putting your foot behind your head if you wanted to try that today, if the body feels good about going there today. It's just fun to know where these poses can lead. Release, and let's meet back into full Happy Baby. Then we'll set up for Half Happy Baby on the left side. Leave your left arm and left leg as they are, and release your right leg to hover 1 inch above the floor. Flex your right heel away, really lengthening your right leg out of the right hip. Start to pull your left knee straight down towards the earth, creating such space in your hips here. Honoring your incarnation with these postures, with these mindful breaths. If you'd like to work into Rock the Baby, you can work your left foot into right elbow crease, left knee into left elbow crease. See if you can lay back to the mat here and gently rock from side to side, rocking the baby. Maybe that's as far as the pose wants to go today. If you want to take it further, you can work your left leg over your left shoulder like you're wearing a backpack. Maybe the foot wants to go behind the head. Letting breath guide you there. Let's all meet back in a full happy baby. And we'll come into our final twists. Release your knees up to a 90-degree angle here. And you can spread your arms out like a T shape on the floor. If you want a deeper twist, use both knees. If you want a lighter twist, keep just your right knee up. Then let your knee or knees fall over to your left. You can turn your head to the right, getting a nice full twist of your spine from tailbone to neck. From here, we let gravity and breath do all of the stretching. Every inhale will lengthen your spine. Every exhale, surrendering to this twist. Use your core to bring everything back to center. You can keep both knees up if you used the double leg before. If you have the single leg, have just your left knee up. And let your knee or knees fall over to your right. You can turn your head over to the left, getting this nice full twist. Every inhale, lengthening you. Every exhale, melting into the floor. Letting it all go. Use your core to bring everything back to center. Bring both knees into your chest for our last active pose. Give both of your legs a big hug. This helps to realign your spine after those twists. But more importantly, it's to realign our hearts. It's for the daily practice of self-love. So as you give yourself this hug, I humbly ask that you unapologetically give yourself what all living beings deserve: love, gratitude, compassion. Now is the time to let down any walls against your own love. Now's the time to be a supporter for yourself. Now's the time to honor yourself, to shine your own light inward, to illuminate all of the good that you do with your actions, your yang energy, and deeper than that, the good that you are with your yin energy, the vibrant spirit that you are, radiating positive energy. Give yourself this big hug. Give yourself all of this love. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, release. To your final Shavasana meditation. You can spread out and lay however is comfortable for you. You can let it all go. Every exhale is like a wave, washing away any stress. Every exhale, any tension or worries simply melt away into the floor. You have done everything there was to do in the practice. Now it's just this moment to be, just to breathe. If life ever gets complicated, our yoga practice can be simple. This sense of peace and tranquility that you're feeling right now is your true nature. It's always within you. Sometimes our true nature can become obscured like layers of dust over a nice crystal, but it doesn't hold back that peace and that tranquility from still being within. You can just wipe off that dust once in a while. You can follow the breath to your center of peace, your center of loving awareness. When we are in our center, we have that awareness that we can have faith in the universe to take care of itself. We can act from a place of love, not a place of fear. Yogis, you're welcome to continue this meditation if you would like. If you would like to seal our practice together, you can start to reawaken your body here. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe taking a nice good morning stretch. You can find your way to a comfortable seat if you would like. We can seal our practice together. You can sit however is comfortable for you. You can close your eyes. On an inhale, slightly lift your chest. On an exhale, slightly tuck your chin. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of this yoga community. Thank you for taking great care of yourself because you matter and you are loved. And we all want you to take great care of yourself. And in this time, though we might be separated by physical space, we are not alone. We're all part of this human family. It's natural to feel a lot of emotions in this time, but we can always come back to center, to our true nature. It's been my great honor guiding your practice today. The light in me sees, respects, and cherishes the beautiful divine light in each of you. Namaste. Great job, everybody. We're gonna all get unmuted now if you'd like to say anything. Hey guys. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Thank you guys.
Take care of yourself.
Everybody, keep taking great care of yourself. Reaching out to people if you need anything, or if they might need something. Just be there for each other.
I just logged into my the usual unseen
Thank you guys so much. I hope you feel great after that.
Thank you.
Pam and Jason, miss you guys a lot.
Hi.
Alicia, hi.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See you.
Bye.
See you guys next time. Next week, we're going to do the meditation club here for free at 2:30 p.m.
Great. See you then.